RHOBA's Kyle Richards reveals consequences of fame and money. All over the world, people dream of reaching fame through reality stardom. But Kyle Richards, star of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, recently warned fans that fame and money come with a price. In a new interview, she admits that her life certainly changed once she gained worldwide recognition as Bravo star, but not all the changes were positive. RHOBA's Kyle Richards dishes on the dark side of the limelight. Kyle Richards recently appeared on Bravo's Hot Mic podcast to discuss life's many changes that accompany divorce. Her ex Mauricio Umansky previously appeared on the podcast and insisted they had a wonderful marriage at one point. Sadly, the pair went their separate ways, even though they still care about each other. The Bravo star largely agreed with Mauricio there. According to Kyle, it wasn't the show that ruined her marriage. It was all the attention that came along with it. Every situation, every marriage is different. The RHOBA star shared. For us, it had nothing to do with the show. We did the show together for many years, and we were fine through it. I was very happily married. The show did not affect us in that way at all. Kyle went on to add that Mauricio Umansky was always her rock during the challenging periods of her life. She noted the money and the attention that comes with fame certainly sparked tension in her marriage. The reality stars built a life together, starting from scratch. It's not at all uncommon for reality television stars to have marital struggles while filming. The RHOBA stars are certainly no exception. But in the interview, Kyle admits Mauricio helped her navigate through the pressures that came along with the show. She recalled the early years of their marriage before reality television fame. And at the time, Mauricio's real estate company was still in its infancy. "Remember, we started out with nothing," the Bravo star explained. "I had 3 kids and a 2-bedroom apartment." Landing spots on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills marked a major turning point in their relationship. It opens up a whole other world. You're traveling, you're going places. He's getting attention that he didn't get before. There's more people looking at him all of a sudden. He's a rich man. It's a very different situation, Kyle shared. Check out the interview here. Kyle Richards had long understood that fame and fortune came at a cost, but as she sat in her lavish Beverly Hills home, reflecting on decades in the spotlight, the weight of it all felt heavier than ever. The world saw the diamonds, the designer gowns, the luxurious vacations, but behind the perfectly curated Instagram posts was a woman who had learned the hard way that fame and money did not shield her from pain, betrayal, or loneliness. She had been in the public eye since childhood, first as a child actress and later as one of the original cast members of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. What started as a fun, glamorous show depicting the lives of wealthy women in the 90,210 quickly evolved into something much darker. With every season, the stakes grew higher, the feuds more intense, the scrutiny more invasive. Kyle never imagined that her greatest battles would be fought not with strangers, but with family and close friends. Money had changed everything. The glitzy facade of her life couldn't hide the wounds that wealth had carved into her relationships. Her falling out with her sisters, Kim and Kathy, lay out on camera for the world to dissect. Every heated argument, every tearful moment became fodder for tabloids and social media debates. "People assume that because you have money, you have no problems," Kyle mused, swirling a glass of rosé as she looked out at the sprawling view of Los Angeles. But money doesn't stop heartbreak, betrayal, or loss. In some ways, it makes those things worse. She had felt the sting of betrayal more times than she could count. Friends who once had her back suddenly turned into adversaries, using her personal struggles as ammunition in explosive arguments. Whether it was Lisa Vanderpump, who she once considered a confidant, or even newer friendships that had soured under the weight of reality TV drama, Kyle knew that loyalty in Beverly Hills was as fleeting as the latest trend. But the toll of fame went beyond broken friendships. It crept into her marriage, her motherhood, her self-worth. Being on television for over a decade meant that every flaw, every wrinkle, every moment of vulnerability was magnified. There was no room to age gracefully or have a bad day. If her weight fluctuated, the world noticed. If she seemed distant from her husband Mauricio, the rumor mill churned out endless theories about infidelity or divorce. No moment of peace lasted long before the internet tore it apart. And then there was the money itself, the double-edged sword that gave her so much yet took even more. Having wealth meant access to the best of everything: the finest homes, the most exclusive events, designer clothes, private jets. But it also meant expectation. She was expected to maintain an image of perfection, to always be polished, to always be on. The pressure was suffocating. Kyle often thought about the days before reality TV, before her family's life became public property. She had once cherished the simple things: movie nights with her kids, casual dinners with friends where no one was worried about their glam squad or camera angles. Now even those moments felt scripted, orchestrated for a social media audience eager to judge. She had tried to shield her daughters from the harsh realities of fame, but it was impossible to fully protect them. They had grown up in front of cameras, subjected to the same scrutiny Kyle endured. Watching them navigate a world where people had opinions about their every move was one of the hardest parts of all. Had she made the right choice by keeping her family in the spotlight for so long? And then there was Mauricio. Their marriage had always been a beacon of stability on RHOBH, but the whispers of trouble had grown louder over the years. Fame and fortune did not make a relationship immune to strain. In fact, they often amplified it. With his thriving real estate empire and her demanding filming schedule, they sometimes felt like two ships passing in the night. The love was still there, but was it enough to withstand the relentless pressure of public life? As Kyle sat in her beautifully decorated living room, surrounded by opulence that most could only dream of, she couldn't help but wonder. Was it worth it? Would she trade the glitz and glamour for a quieter, more private life? Or was she too deep into this world to ever truly escape it? She thought about all the times she had told herself she would walk away, that she would leave RHOBH and reclaim her peace. But the truth was, the show had become an addiction, a cycle of chaos that, despite all its hardships, she found impossible to quit. Fame had given her so much, but it had also taken pieces of her she would never get back. As another season loomed, Kyle knew the cycle would continue. More drama, more feuds, more tabloid headlines. But deep down, she also knew that as long as she remained in the spotlight, she would have to accept the consequences that came with it. And maybe, just maybe, she was willing to pay the price. She thought about all the times she had told herself she would walk away, that she would leave RHOBH and reclaim her peace. But the truth was, the show had become an addiction, a cycle of chaos that, despite all its hardships, she found impossible to quit. Fame had given her so much, but it had also taken pieces of her she would never get back. As another season loomed, Kyle knew the cycle would continue. More drama, more feuds, more tabloid headlines. But deep down, she also knew that as long as she remained in the spotlight, she would have to accept the consequences that came with it. And maybe, just maybe, she was willing to pay the price.